Well, we got our official update on the Lucas Giolito situation. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. If you remember, back earlier this week, we made our first initial video on poor Lucas Giolito, who in his first spring training start of 2025, on the very first pitch of the game, felt some tightness in his hamstring. He finished out the inning, then came out, and everyone was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I also said in that video that, hey, if you don't get news from me, it's all good and dandy. Well, here's your news, right? And obviously, it's not all well and dandy because we did get our first update, or really our latest update on the entire Lucas Giolito thing here. The official update as to where things stand is Lucas Giolito was diagnosed with a low-grade strain in his left hamstring. Now, this is actually kind of good news a little bit. The reason I say that is because, one, this is lowest grade strain he could have possibly had. Absolutely fantastic, right? If he'd gotten a higher grade, that would have been a bit of a problem, and he would have been out for a pretty long period of time. The fact that he didn't get a very high diagnosis on this strain is a very good sign that this isn't something incredibly serious. The second reason I say this is kind of good news is because this didn't shut him down from being able to throw. In fact, he was throwing today. He did talk to reporters about it, and after, he said that he felt 100% with no symptoms, which to me is super interesting, right? If you felt it during the game and then you take a day off and now you're back out there throwing, what does that mean for where he's at in terms of how long it's going to take him to get back on the mound? I don't really know. But what I do know is that these are two very good signs that this isn't going to be an incredibly long-term injury. However, unfortunately, despite the fact that these are all really good positives to come out of an injury situation, right? There's never truly a real positive to come out of an injury situation, but you guys know what I mean. Unfortunately, despite those, though, it still does mean Lucas Giolito will not be with the Boston Red Sox come opening day. It was announced by Alex Cora and then kind of confirmed by the rest of the team here that Lucas Giolito will begin the year on the IL. Now, we don't exactly know which portion of the IL he's going to end up on, but he definitely will be there. So let's break down what this means for not only the rotation, but Lucas Giolito and everything else. Honestly, I don't really think this is anything to panic about. I think there are going to be a few comments on this video having something to do with baby poop or glass, right? We normally get those kind of conversations whenever someone who's been previously injured gets injured again. I don't really think that's totally the label that to put on Lucas Giolito. One, historically, he's been a very healthy player. And two, again, you go back to the actual injury itself before we go, oh, injury? God, this guy's made of glass, right? First, we got to look at what type of injury it was, and then we got to look at how long it's actually going to keep him out for. And if both of those things are very, very minimal, what this leads me to believe is that the Red Sox are sitting there and they're being precautionary, right? They're saying, okay, in maybe a different world, we would have pushed Lucas Giolito through this, but combine it with the fact that he's coming back from an internal brace surgery and combining it with the fact that you have depth in this roster right now, we don't really need to do that. We don't need to put him at risk to potentially make that injury worse or have him perform less than what he would actually perform at because he's trying to battle through something just simply to have him on the mound, right? It's more beneficial for the Red Sox right now, based on everything we've seen about this injury, to have him start on the IL. And in my opinion, again, if you're just simply looking at what Lucas Giolito has said, what he was officially diagnosed with, we know it's not going to be a very long-term IL stint, right? We're not going to be missing Lucas Giolito for multiple months here. We're going to be missing him for a couple of different weeks, and that's extremely manageable for this Red Sox team. To be honest with you, it might only be one or two starts. Like, let's take a look at what he could end up doing. My guess is that both he and Bayo end up on the 15-day IL. I think Bayo might end up being a little bit longer than 15 days, but either way, with Giolito starting on the 15-day IL, the Red Sox could do a little bit of a funky thing here. They could officially put him on the IL opening day, but backdate that to March 24th, 3 days before the opening day began. And what that would allow them to do is bring him back basically missing 2 starts this season. So all the Red Sox really need to do here is make up 2 starts, at least what's going on right now on paper, right? Obviously, this could be some sort of thing where there's a little bit of issues as he makes his way back onto the mound. But for right now, that's sort of what you're looking at. You're looking at Lucas Giolito missing 2 starts, and that is absolutely nothing to panic about for the Red Sox, or if you're a Red Sox fan, right? Now, in my opinion, to be honest with you, the only real reason he's even ending up on the IL is because he had such a razor-thin margin for error in terms of his buildup with his internal brace surgery, right? If he hadn't had an internal brace surgery last year, I think the Red Sox, with 2 weeks left in spring training, or just 2 weeks left until opening day, basically, sit there and they say, look, we're going to give you a week off, we're going to get you one more start, and then you're going to be good to go. But because of that internal brace surgery, it sort of pushes him to the IL, and I think that's really the big difference maker here. Again, you look at all the facts, and there's no baby poop or glass to be found here, right? It's just something the Red Sox can afford to do right now because of the depth in their rotation. Speaking of the depth in their rotation, let's take a look at what the rotation is now probably going to look like for the first couple of weeks of the season. To me, there's really only one solution to how the Red Sox look coming into opening day rotationally. The good news with all these injuries to the Red Sox rotation is that, knock on wood, your top 3 guys are still ready and good to go, right? Crochet and Houck at the top of this rotation. To me, that's the obvious answer, right? Crochet 1, Houck 2. Maybe you get Houck a situation here where you can start opening day. Doesn't matter, right? There's 162 games. Those 2 will be at the top of your rotation. People underrate Houck. I'm not going to get into it. Totally different video we can talk about later. Number 3, we're doing Walker Buehler, right? And you can make the argument that Walker Buehler deserves to be that number 2 because of his ceiling, and I absolutely wouldn't fight you on it, but I will say putting him in that number 3 spot alleviates some of the pressure of having to partially carry this rotation like you're hoping Houck and Crochet can do, and really just simply get himself back into true pitching form, which is something he was really working on towards the last half of the 2024 season, hoping to really bring it together in 2025. It's why he bet on himself. And then from there, because he got Giolito, Bello, and Crawford on the IL, in my opinion, the only solution to this is to have Priester and Fitz start for the Red Sox for the first couple of weeks of the season. And honestly, that's not a bad thing, right? Both of them have shown that they are taking bigger steps forward so far this spring training. Both of them look really good so far this spring training. Again, we've talked about it till I'm assuming your ears have bled, right? At this point, that these 2 guys are critical to the Red Sox success this season because of situations like this. It just so happens that the situations pop up in the first singular day of the regular season. Now, I will say, it is, like Alex Cora said, going to be little bit of a test very early on here. Even if Lucas Giolito only misses 15 days and Bello only misses 15 days, first 22 days of the regular season, the Red Sox play 20 games with a stretch of 12 straight games in the middle of that. Now, this is fairly typical. We see this throughout the regular season usually, but right off the bat, that's a little bit of a rough stretch, a little bit of a gauntlet, and you're already down all of your depth, right? 3 guys on the IL, your 2 depth pieces, they're already on the team. What's going to happen if something else, heaven forbid, goes wrong? That's going to be a really interesting equation. And even with these depth guys, Priester's had some time in Major League Baseball. He's probably had experiences with something like this. Fitz really hasn't yet. This is going to be a big test for Richard Fitz, I think. There's going to be a big spotlight on him as they get into the regular season. I have a lot of faith in this guy. I think he can be a very good pitcher at the Major League level. I think Quinn Priester still has a ton of talent and a lot of potential at the Major League level. I'm excited to see these guys work. It's unfortunate that this is the situation they're getting that work in, but again, this is why you build out the team the way you build it. So at the end of the day, taking a look at all of this, I'm begging you, don't panic about this Giolito thing. This is more precautionary than it is anything. They can afford to take their time making sure that Giolito is 100%. That's exactly what they're doing in this situation. It doesn't sound like he's going to miss much of any time at all. Kind of a similar boat with Bello like we've been talking about for a while. So yeah, it sucks, right? It sucks not having the rotation that you pictured, but we'll see, right? There's going to be plenty of moments for us to panic as Red Sox fans throughout a 162-game season. I just don't think there's any point in panicking for the very first one. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What do you think about this Lucas Giolito injury? What do you think about what my rotation looks like? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Sox news in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, the best way to do that is to head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.